We've obviously heard from Ryan Burnett a little bit earlier on, but I'm glad to say Ray Moylette is here with us in studio, chatting away to Andy Lee. Ray, how are you doing? Good morning to you.
I'm great, Gerard. Thank you very much. All good.
I see you've come dressed for the occasion.
Well, that's it too. I just threw on the cronk gear this morning, especially when I was meeting Andy, you know, good friend of mine, so it's good to support.
You were chatting to a good Mayo man outside there.
That's right, yeah, Kevin Kilbane, yeah. We actually got told to quieten down, we're interfering a small bit, but I met Kevin a few weeks ago in Mayo. He was down at an event on the Sea to Summit, and I met him for the first time down there, and we got a picture. I got it up online. Great. So it's good to have Mayo men representing, I guess. Yeah.
Is Kilbane here? It's this hour of the morning. What's going on?
He's popped in there.
Must be something wrong.
Ray was coming.
Yeah, holy moly. How are you getting on? Because this is a big couple of weeks for you now, right?
Yeah, so it is a big couple of weeks, you know, but it's not any different. Like, I'm still preparing for a fight, you know, but there's a couple of different factors that are coming to play with this, you know. So it's a homecoming, which is my first time fighting at home in front of a big crowd, you know. It's live on TG4, which is a good plug as well, and there's a top 15 world ranking at stake. So it's for the WBC international title. There's a lot of stuff that can happen after this, you know, but in my head it's just another fight, you know, just to prepare for that, get the weight down, make sure sparring is going well, and you know, I need to try and keep composed as well, because at home there's a good buzz around town, you know. We know how Mayo support is, you know, they're getting on top of the bandwagon with like the footballers when it's time for Sam Maguire, you know, they go mad in the countries or in the counties. So it's good that I'm up here in Dublin away from all that, and I could go home the weekends and I still get to feel it, you know, experience it, but I still can't take my eye off the prize, which is December 7th, you know, so that's the most important thing at the minute.
So what are you working on at the moment in terms of your strategy for the fight?
Yeah, so I'm working with Packy Collins here in Blanchardstown. This guy is a step up of what I'd be used to. He's a typical Mexican fighter. He's come forward, he's durable, he's tough. He's a boxer like myself, I think. You know, he likes his single shots and he's a bit flashy. I think he's the same attributes that I have, but I think I'm more powerful and I have quicker hands than him. And I think that'll come to play in the latter rounds. I think it'll be 50-50 for the first 4 or 5 rounds, whereas I think he's going to I'll wear him down, and I can maybe look good in the last 5. You know, I haven't done 10 rounds yet. I've only done it in training, and it's completely different than a fight. So I'm looking forward to it. It's a challenge and it's a test and it's a step up. And this is, when I turned professional just 2 years ago, this is the fights I want to be put into, you know.
What are you doing in training with Packy? What for this opponent specifically?
So Packy's actually, he's all the body bag on him and all the gear bag, and he's lying in on top of me, you know, basically keeping the pressure on me, you know, because I can box. I'm a good counter puncher. I can box, I can move, and I'm nearly moving too much, you know, for the pro ranks. For 10 rounds, I won't be able to move like that. So I will get into a position where I have to stand and I have to trade and I have to fight. And, you know, that's inevitable. That's going to happen in the fight. So once I can prepare for that, I know that's coming. I need to work on that, because I'm boxing 20 years now at this stage, you know, so the moving and the simpler stuff, it nearly comes natural to me now. So Packy is trying to drill in the fact to stand and sit on my punches, you know, because I've good defense, so I'm able to trade with these guys. I don't need to be getting out of danger, because I'm good enough to be in that pocket. But, you know, it's frustrating for me. I think I can move all the time, you know, because it's what I've known, you know. But the professional game is, there's different tactics that come into play and different in a fight, you know. And
how long did it take you, Andy, to get used to that?
It takes, I think you're always learning, and it's probably the biggest adjustment you have to make, isn't it? The footwork, especially when you've been drilled in the Irish coaching system, because it's high. The footwork it's very emphasised, and it's high energy footwork. You know, you're always on your toes and you're bouncing. And in the program, it's more about stepping. It's not about bouncing. I think there is a time to bounce, but it's more about stepping, and it's conditioning your legs for that. And also sitting low on your legs. It's a different thing. Where the amateur game, you're kind of upright, and your legs are almost straight, not vertical, but straight. Where in the program, you're always sitting down into your legs, squatting, and that's a different conditioning as well.
Yeah, like even. My trade.
Let me tell you, it's easier in the fight than it is in the sparring. The sparring is harder, because you'll have the energy of the crowd, you'll have your adrenaline pumping, and the rounds will be passing and you won't even realise it.
Well, I'd say I'll realise it all right. But like one of my main attributes as an amateur was I could hit and not get hit, you know, so I was very good at single shots. And a big flashy shot that had come from the back door, like I could throw that. I was never really the aggressive.
One of the only Irishmen to win the European gold medal. Very hard medal to win. Very, very hard medal to win. Harder than a world medal because every country you come up against are really good, you know. And it's...
that's a while ago now, 2011, you know, I'm trying to...
But you were so unlucky coming Olympic years and so many times, weren't you?
Yeah, I missed out on London by one fight for qualification out in Azerbaijan. And then, Rio, it's beyond me how it didn't happen, you know. So I missed out with through the Irish selection, just two different decisions or whatever, and I got over that. But I was actually drafted in then to APB, which is amateur professional boxing, and I got an opportunity then to qualify through that rank, where the WSB and the APB fight. So they're two sort of professional bodies in amateur boxing that the amateur setup put in to stop amateur boxers going professional, because the best amateurs go professional and it leaves the amateur scene. So they want to try a middle of the road job. So that I actually got drafted into that, and there was 5 boxers in Venezuela, and the top 2 qualified, and there was an Armenian, a very good Armenian. He's better than me. He's probably still better than me, you know. And he was always the main threat. And then there was someone from Qatar. Like, I think my mother would have bet the other 3, and I was the other 1. So, and the top 2 qualified. And if you lost the first fight, you actually got another chance to fight. If you lost the second fight, you got another chance to fight. So we were just dependent on the draw, and the draw came out. I was fighting the number 1 seed, which was the Armenian. So the 2 of us were by far ahead of the pack. But it's just the way the draw worked, I missed out. You know, like he stopped the next 2 opponents in the first round.
Venezuela qualified, there's a lot of questions about the decisions
that were made,
and I think the draws that were made there.
I think
there were a lot of...
One of the guys was from Qatar, and I think they invested heavily after that or before that, I'm not sure, and he got the pass. But like, it was harder for me not to qualify that time than to actually qualify. You know, that's the way I look at it. So it wasn't meant to be
Wasn't there a point where you were thinking of walking away? Like you had to be kind of coaxed back?
There's a few of them points. There's a few of them points, yeah. Especially with boxing, you come up against a lot of barriers and walls that you come into. But one of the first times that I wanted to pack it in was in 2007. I was changing school. I was a 17-year-old, you know, as you do. And I was throwing the box. I was throwing the toys out of the pram, really. So I just threw it away. And after a couple of weeks, my uncle Richard Duffy and my coach now, Martin Brennan, he's a cousin of mine as well. My mother got onto them, said, "Talk to this fella." You know,
set him straight.
Come down and set him straight, yeah. Because I wasn't listening to the people closest to me. So they came down and they persuaded me just to stay on, that the World Championships were in a couple of months, just to try them, and then you can pack it in and see what happens. And then I actually went on in 2008, and I was the first Irish boxer ever to win a World Amateur title. Well, male, I think Kate Taylor was before me. So I won that, and that sort of set the scene for myself then. Without choice, I was becoming a professional boxer then, because I was part of the high performance scene.
Yeah.
I was being funded, I was being told where I needed to be, what I had to do. So by the time...
Did you respond to that? Because some people do and some people don't.
Yeah, well, I did respond to it. I did, absolutely, because it came so fast. I had no choice to do it. And by the time I knew it, I was 21, 22, and that's all I knew. You know, I was being looked after in high performance.
Options weren't there,
and I had not that I had no options, and I'm delighted that I'm here now, you know, fighting at home in a couple of weeks' time. But I look back and I didn't choose this. It sort of just happened, because I wanted to walk away and I didn't get the opportunity to walk away, and then I came back a world champion. So there was sort of, I was thrown into the deep end then, you know. But again, I enjoyed it, you know, but it's something that it just happened, you know. So this
Are you happy now, though, that you went through that to get to the point where, would you, in retrospect, would you prefer to go pro at 22 and be a 5-6 year vet now?
I don't think I had the discipline to go pro at 22, and let's be honest, you know, I probably took a lot of shortcuts in my career, you know, whereas now
in training, in
training and with everything, you know, mainly lifestyle. You know, it was because it was so foreign to be a professional athlete in down home where we're from. You know, it's not the done thing. So there was loads of loopholes and loads of shortcuts I could take because I wasn't being surveyed or observed as much as if I was living in the city. You know, so I could escape, and I probably did a little bit much. But to be the opportunity I have now, I wouldn't change any of that. You know, I wouldn't. There's nothing more that I would want now than what I'm doing at this moment of time. Like preparing for a massive fight at home in front of my own people, and that they're all behind me now. And the options that this will bring are endless. You know, I don't know what phone call can come on December 8th. You know, anything can happen. And like, I'm not living the normal 9-to-5 job. I'm getting phone calls every few weeks. Like, I got a phone call during the week there of Andy, you know, to come on to this. Like, that's exciting. You know, these are things that the average people or just the normal people working every day don't get to experience. You know, so this is living the dream, really. This side of things. I know there's ups and downs in boxing, but surely the ups they're phenomenal. Like, you know, and you know that, you know, of ups and downs as well.
Yeah, it's the life less lived, isn't it?
Yeah.
You spoke about going home for this fight. How do you think you're going to handle the pressure? What are you doing to combat that, the expectancy?
Well, at the minute, I'm spending most of the time in Dublin to try and, because again, I took shortcuts and I did let things get to myself before. So, like, there's a lot of people clapping me on the back at home, you know, saying, well done, congratulations. But in reality, there's nothing done yet. You know, this is just another fight, and that's the way I have to look at it. But I still want to be able to enjoy it, you know, because most of my fights have been in Boston or have been abroad. And I feel I didn't really get to experience the whole occasion. You know, this is entertainment at the end of the day. We're professional athletes, professional boxers, and we need bums on seats for it. And in order to do that, you have to be entertaining. So I'm not so caught up in the boxing scene. I'm still a showman, you know, and I need to be, but I can't get caught up in thinking I've won already, because I haven't. This is going to be my toughest fight to date, and I'll need to pull out all the stops, because
you must also feel a huge amount. You must feel very proud of yourself for bringing this fight and bringing, I guess, boxing back to Ireland. But in a way, you know, this boxing has been happening here, but this is a step up in terms of the opponent you're fighting and the card itself.
Like, I read an article in Irish Boxing last week, and they put it up, and it was...
What did you took me up on my comments?
Yeah, you commented. That's a couple of months
I said it
ago
was
now.
in the bin. You said, Andy,
you slated Irish Boxing. Said there's no big shows going to happen in the next 10 years, was it, or the next couple of years?
It's going to be a long time.
That boxing in the Republic is in the bin and there's no back. And I challenged on it. I explained to you, Andy, this is an opportunity now for the people to get behind someone. And like, with all this turmoil and with professional boxing, the people of Ireland want to get behind someone. They want to support someone. They're hungry to support someone. And why can't it be me? You know what I mean? Not because it's me, but timing is perfect now for me. I'm coming at the right time when there's a gap in the market, I feel, and I think I can do it. And I know you were saying with big shows and all that, but this is coming to the article on Irish Boxing. They wrote that T.G. Cahir are going to... they're backing me more so than the boxing, and they're going to follow my journey, you know, and I enjoyed reading that. That's pressure that you can enjoy, that if I do well, then boxing will get more coverage and it'll get more airtime and TV time, which means other boxers will get that. So realistically, I'm bringing boxing back to the forefront. Now again, I need to be performing, I need to be winning, but I like the thoughts of that, you know, so I'm very proud of that.
You want to be the torch
bearer. Flag bearer, yeah, of course. Like, I like, growing up, I always passing billboards and everything, and I often vision myself up on these billboards, you know, at home, and over the last couple of weeks now it's become reality. My picture is up on the billboards. I'm on all the social media platforms, all the papers are covering me now. So, but I know this is only the beginning, but I've got great coverage in the past, and I've slipped at the final hurl. You know, like you mentioned there about the Olympics, that I have been in good positions before and I've missed out. So I just feel the timing is right now, and everything that has happened up to this has geared me for this, you know, so I haven't taken any shortcuts because I've learned over the years that that doesn't work, you know, and my training has gone up a level. I'm coming down a weight than I actually have ever, than I fought in professional boxing, and I haven't made this weight since 2009. But I want to be competitive. I'm like, I could have
light welter or lightweight?
Lightweight, so it's 135.
Yeah.
So I know I could do well at 140, but I could only get to a level. I feel I'd be more competitive down at 135. So I'm making the adjustments now to make sure that everything is set, that when we do start to move forward.
And going forward, say you win the fight, when you win the fight,
yeah,
where would you like to go? Who would you like to fight?
Like Lomachenko is the man in the weight, you know. And I've never fought him. I was in training camp with him in Ukraine. I was 60 or 64 at the time in kilos, and he was sparring welterweight, 69 kgs. You know, he wouldn't spar anyone within 2 weight categories of him, and that was good news for us. You know, I never had to jump in with him. I wasn't going to argue with any of the coaches, but the reality of the fact was there was 10 more Lomachenkos there as well. So we dodged one bullet, but you were put in against someone else. But you know, I see, like I was over sparring with Anthony Corralla a couple of weeks ago, and like he's a poster boy for lightweight boxing for a couple of years, you know, and I've always looked at these guys, you see on massive shows on Sky Sports, and you know, I've seen him fighting Ricky Burns maybe 2 years ago now, if I can remember back, but I always thought, I said, I could be there someday. You know, I'd like to see how far behind them guys am I. So, I actually went over and sparred Ricky Burns a year ago as well, so I'm putting feelers out everywhere to see where I am. You need to be tested against the best. And I went over with Anthony Corralla, and we sparred very well. He looked after me great, himself and Joe Gallagher.
The thing is, you see these guys on big shows and on a big platform, you tend to put them in a different bracket, don't you? Because just because they're on that platform, but actually in the gym, when it's just the two of you, you're on an even playing field.
And they're exactly the same as I am, you know. But if all goes well, he'll be fighting Lomachenko next year. I hope to get into camp again with Corralla. You know, I don't have any fight dates, I don't have any plans in the immediate future, but I'd like to get into that, because that's big time boxing again. But if someone asked me to fight Lomachenko, absolutely, I'd jump across the table, I'd do it, not because I think I could beat him, because I don't know can I yet, and I'm probably not experienced enough yet, and I don't know will I ever be experienced enough yet. But a punch always has a chance, and in the boxing ring when the bell goes, you know, anything can happen. But to say you fought the best, and to be in against the best, and to be tested against the best on the biggest stage in the world, you've already won then, you know what I mean? So like even people with Corralla, you know, they're not giving him much chance because it's Lomachenko, you know, but there's two guys in the ring fighting together, and anything can happen. And once you're on that biggest stage, that's what dreams are made of, really, you know.
Corralla is, just looking at his record there, he's lost fights, right?
He's lost a lot of fights, especially around midway through his, not even midway, but early and midway through his career. And he was kind of rid off, and then he kind of came back, and it's one of the very many good stories in boxing.
He's nearly too nice to be a boxer. He couldn't do enough for me when I was over there, thanking me for everything and looked after me well. And like himself and Joe Gallagher funded me to go over, you know, so they valued my sparring with him. So I was obviously testing him, or he was getting the best out of it. I hope I wasn't a confidence builder, you know, and I don't think I was. But like I was over there, he was sparring Josh Warrington as well, you know, and I was jumping in and out. But now with Warrington, because he was the weight again below me. But you know, these guys, they're at the top level, but there's not much of a difference from where I'm at and where I'm climbing at.
Small things that separate the guys at the really high level to the guys who would just be there, and it's not always improving and just learning all the time and doing those small things. Like,
but these guys are pros nearly 10 years now, you know what I mean? And there are little things that can pick up. You're in the clinches. He knew how to hold me, that he could get a breather, that I was tired. You know, he knew when to jump on me. He knew the test. I could take little bits of it, but I take a bit more time to be able to adjust it into my own game, you know, because sometimes, like if I think I need to throw a punch now, I won't throw the punch. It has to happen naturally and automatically. You know, it's nearly, you do things in the ring on instinct. You can't plan. You can't say, I'm going to throw a right hand now in a few minutes, or when he throws that left. It just happens.
But the only, like, one of the one of the best ways you can make a huge improvement in a short period of time is by competing with people who are better than you.
Yeah.
And there's almost that mirroring that you do kind of on a neurological level. If you're seeing something in front of you that you don't even think about it, you're seeing him moving like this, moving like that, and he's throwing a jab, and all of a sudden you're doing the same movement.
Yes.
You know, you often seen it. If you ever watch an opponent that you're studying to fight, you end up fighting just like him.
You nearly do the same mistakes.
Yeah. Because you're watching so much, and you learn, like you take in more with your eye without being told. You know, sometimes you can be told a million things, but you have to experience it to truly learn it.
Yeah.
The difficulty with that is, though, to experience that properly in a fight environment, you have to fight.
Yeah, but
fighters
that's why sparring is the.
Yeah, like, so even when I'm sparring here, I'm sparring featherweights, welterweights, you know, so I'm jumping in with the featherweights, or the welterweights early, so they're rough and tough and manhandling me, you know what I mean? So they're physically wearing me down. And then the last couple of rounds, then there's featherweights jumping in, that's all fast and speed. So my training has to be adjusted to that, you know, so that's the level we're trying to hit. And as well, Stephen Ormond as well, like, he's just a total pressure fighter, you know, so it's tactically, I'm hitting all angles, you know, so I've sparred the heavier, the lighter guys, and the typical pro boxer and the slugger, you know, so I've been in against them all. So hopefully, and again, you know, I've done this my whole life, you know, so there's nothing really foreign, and there's nothing that Uruzquieta can do on December 7th that I think that I haven't seen before. You know, if I do need to adjust, I need to worry about myself, you know, and make sure I don't make any mistakes on the night, because, you know, with the 8-ounce gloves, anything can happen. You know,
10-round fight?
Yeah, 10 rounds. So, like, it's a half an hour in 10 3-minute rounds to be able. You have to concentrate, because this guy, I could be beating him 5 or 6 rounds to 0, and he just needs one shot. You know, and if he knows I'm outclassing him and I'm a better boxer, he will wait to get that good shot. He doesn't need to be competing with me, or try and match me if I'm way ahead on the scorecards. He just needs to pick his shot 10 seconds in a round, you know. So, yeah. Whereas in amateur boxing, if you're beating a guy, he has no time to pick that shot. Plus, you're not going to tire as quick. But so you can't get complacent in the ring, you know. And Packy is always driving that onto me. You know, I learned a serious lesson with my second professional fight in Boston. Was against Matt Probin. It was in the House of Blues, first fight under Murphy's boxing banner, and I actually dropped him in the first round with a bad left hook, more or less. It wasn't great, and it was a flashy enough knockdown, so there was no damage done. But in my head, that he was knocked down, he was hurt, I was going to just take him out, and I actually jumped on him and I tried to take him out, and I ended up gassing out, and I didn't take him out because he wasn't hurt. And I ended up losing the second round because I was tired and I gassed up. So that was a valuable lesson to learn so early in my career. You know, I thought, well, if someone hits the ground, they're gone, but they were not gone. So I learned an awful lot to pace myself.
Who's plotting the background stuff for you? Who's your management team?
Yeah, so Assassin Boxing and Assassin Promotions. So I linked up with them. I talked to a few managers and a few promoters, and before I turned pro, and I didn't really get the warm welcoming I was looking for. You know, I thought I had a good amateur background, but I knew I missed out on the Olympics. So, but I thought I would have been more inviting coming to these promoters or managers. You know, but I wasn't, and I felt that. And I went to Brighton over to Kaz of Assassin, and I met him for a cup of tea, and very warm, welcoming. Couldn't do enough for me. We put a plan on the table, and he literally agreed to it there and then. But I came back, so I came with things that I wanted to do. You know, I came with an agenda, and when he agreed to them straight away, I took a step back. I wondered, do I want to? You know, I was looking for bargaining power. Yeah. But so he agreed to it straight away. And what I took from the first meeting with him was he was fairly new to the game, but he was ambitious and he was hungry. So he was constantly trying to make new contacts. He was constantly trying to get to the next level. I hoped I'd be one of the main boxers in his stable, which I was. So when I signed over, I was the main boxer in the stable at the time, and so all his work at that time was geared towards about looking after me.
Yeah.
Whereas if I jumped into Matchroom or I jumped into some of the other stables with hundreds of boxers, I would just be another number.
Yeah.
Whereas this guy needed me as much as I needed him.
Startup.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's basically, I enjoyed that too. But coming in at the top level like that, he looked after me so much. But I think now I've looked after him as well. You know, Assassin Boxing is the biggest promoters in Ireland at the minute. You know, so. And they're getting TV time, you know, and I take a little bit of credit for that, even though obviously I can't take it all. But I feel we've helped each other because we're at the same level starting. So
that's the side of the business that's the most difficult for the fighters to get their head around, because the rest of the time you're practicing and making sure that your body is ready to take severe punishment and inflict severe punishment, while at the same time your business brain has to be going, am I looking after all this stuff over here?
Yeah.
Are the tickets sorted? The TV rights, is that something I should be aware of? Like, who's getting paid? How is that all happening? That must be the hardest part of being a boxer.
It's treacherous, and for a lot of boxers, they bury their head in the sand because there's so much they have so much on their hands anyway in terms of what you just mentioned, the training, preparing yourself mentally and physically, that you don't really want to be bothered with the business. You just have to trust that the people who are there are taking care of you, and it's a huge trust. But hopefully, you've got it in a legal contract that they're bound to do their job correctly. So, yeah, it's a tricky road to navigate.
yeah, you need friends and you need help. Everyone needs to work together, and that has to be driven home. Like, I brought my amateur coach Martin Brennan on board with me, so he comes to all my camps and he comes everywhere with me, really. So he's sort of my spokesperson. If there's something that I'm not happy about, I'll make sure it goes to him, and he drives that back to management. And by the time it gets to management, it's sorted. You know, there's no other way it can happen, because.
Yeah. So Packy's your coach, but he's
Packy's my trainer.
Trainer.
So, yeah, and Mark Brennan's just a very close friend of mine.
Conciliary is the
more or less, yeah. And he gets all the dirty jobs. You know, that he used to ask who's getting paid, when are they getting it. You know, he used to make sure everything's on track.
Perfect.
He keeps my management and Packy all together. He keeps everyone together, and then like.
Let you be you.
Yes, I can just focus on my boxing. But at the minute now, so there's massive ticket sales going on at home at the minute, and my wife has taken the job, Sharon. She's taken the job of literally handling all the tickets, handling all the money, meeting people with tickets, getting them out. So
you know, from Eric Donovan was in talking to us about this, and it's like, you know, he's literally the night before fights driving around dropping tickets that people have bought, and like
that's not practical, and there's no way I could do that. I'm not struggling at the weight, but there will be a point when I won't want to see anyone. And if someone's coming to buy a ticket off me, I have to be all smiles and happy, you know, and there's no way I could do that.
How's the weight going? Yeah, shut up.
Yeah, don't mention the war. But so she has taken that fully on board. I literally don't have to worry about anyone. There's people writing to me every day about tickets, and I just say, talk to Sharon, this is it, you know.
So you've got the team in place and the support structure.
Like, we come from a very local community, and everyone, I'd love to give them all free tickets if I could, you know, but it's just not possible. No. But if someone asks about the fight, I nearly feel obliged that I have to give them a free ticket, you know, and I'm the bad one, you know, I don't want to be that way. So I literally just, Sharon is the bad one, put her on to her, and she can do it. So she's doing the dirty work, and Martin Brennan's doing the dirty work, Packy Collins is training me, Kaz is looking after everything, and I just have to box.
Where's the fight and when?
So the fight is in the TF in Castlebar on December 7th. It's live on TG4 as well.
If people want tickets, there are tickets available.
There's tickets, yeah. Contact Sharon. Yeah, so literally on my social media you get all the tickets. I think you can get a few through Ticketmaster as well, but being honest, there's only like maybe 150 or 200 tickets left in total.
That's going to be
like,
great.
I have a 2,000 capacity, you know, so...
That's amazing.
And some of
that's the National Stadium, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't think... I was afraid of this fight, you know, because, as I said, my name was up on the banner, and if it wasn't successful, everyone could sort of go back to their own environment. But I would have to face up to this, you know, things in a small town, village, or a small area like Castlebar or Westport. If it didn't go well, I'd hear about it, you know, and it'd continue for a while. So I wanted to make sure everything was looked after, before we actually announced the show. So I knew TG Carr was coming on board. I knew Roy Sheehan was going to be on the bill. You know, I didn't know Spike was going to be on it. That was a surprise for me, and a very good surprise. So he got that over the line, you know. So we had little jobs that we needed done before we actually said, right, put our name to that.
Yeah.
You know, so, but thankfully, 24 hours after the show was announced, I was in the exact position I needed to be. I was calm and relaxed. I knew it was going to work from then.
How is the weight going? What's the...
Yeah, so the weight is good. So with the WBC, there's 3 weigh-ins.
Yeah.
So there's a 30-day weigh-in where you can be no more than 10% over the weight.
Right.
And then there's a 7-day weigh-in, you can be no more than 7% over the weight. And then the actual weigh-in on the day before. The WBC brought this in for safety. The boxers can't be dropping a load of weight the week before a fight, which I would usually do. So it completely counteracts everything.
But it can be manipulated too, because there's enough weight. 10% is...
Yes, yeah.
What does 10% over 135?
So I'm going to go kilos now. I'm going to go kilos, that's all right. So 61.5 is the fighting weight.
Yeah.
And I had to weigh 67.5.
So that's a huge
3 weeks ago. Yeah. And I have to weigh 64.
How much work did you make? How much work did you have to do to get to 67?
I had to make a small bit. I didn't eat for one day.
But that's it. But then the next day you still have 30 days, so and you can go back up.
And after that, I was walking around 67.5, you know, for the next couple of days. So I have to make 64.4 on...
Saturday, is it?
No, this Thursday. Okay. So in 2 days' time. So I have about 1.5 kilos to go on that, you know, which will be water weight. Yeah. I'll come back to this weight that I'm walking around at, and I'll do the full cut the day before the weigh-in next week. But I think it'll have a small factor to play in this fight, because I haven't made this weight before. And you're
getting verified weights from your opponent in Mexico?
Yeah. He's been... I've got it. He was at the WBC office in Mexico.
Okay.
So he was actually there with that. But now, whether he was on the scales or not, I don't know. You know, that's the thing with boxing. But no, I trust. You know, you need trust in this game too. You have to...
But you'll have to weigh in on the day.
Yes. So, and if he didn't make the weight, like... It's terrible for him. But this is an opportunity for him also. Like this WBC, it's a ranking title.
What's his record?
I think he's 17-4.
Yeah, so but he serious fighter. Yeah.
He has fought 10 rounds. He's fought championship rounds before. You know, so and the WBC sanctioned this fight. They had to pick me and they had to pick him.
Look, to win 17 fights as a lightweight in Mexico, you have to be good.
Yeah, of course. Trust me. And he's been on the road a bit. I think he was in Canada. His manager, promoter is up there. But the top 15 ranking at stake, they don't give that out like to just anybody. You know, so if he wins it, he's worthy of winning it. He can't be in there just for the sake of it. And vice versa with me. If I win it, I'm worthy of being in there. Like for me, to get the criteria to fight for this, like the last person to fight for this in their 12th fight was Luke Campbell, you know, for the same belt and the same amount of fights as I have. You know, he was Olympic champion. So I'm at that level, but my management actually had to dig into my amateur pedigree. They had to take out the world title and the European title to use that as sacrifice, you know, to show my quality, because I didn't actually have enough criteria built up in my amateur career. Yeah. So that's how high of a level it is, you know. So it's going to be a 50-50 fight in my eyes, you know, but I think it's a fight that can make me look good as well. You know, the platform is there for the exposure, and people want to see a hard fight. They want like one of my favourite fights is a fight in Connecticut where I actually got dropped in the second round. You know,
I remember
that's my favourite fight to look back on, because that showed that I have something else there. You know what I mean? And that was a close fight. I won on split decision. But that's probably one of the fights. If someone asked me to see a fight, that's the one I show them, because I could have went any way and I got hit, you know, and people want to see that.
Well, when the standard of opponent raises, so will yours, but because you have that background as a high-level amateur and a budding pro career, you'll tap into all that experience you have as an amateur, and your level will raise. Hopefully above him.
Yeah, well, hopefully above him, yeah.
It will do, it will.
Well, listen, we've tweeted the link out to the few remaining tickets. So they're
Lovely.
selling like hotcakes.
Well, that's it too, you know, but it's a good excuse. Like, so like, the way that the Royal Theatre is set up, it's a concert hall, you know, and it's designed. I was there at Pat Short a few years ago, you know, laughing up at him. I didn't think I'd be up on stage at some stage. But it's geared for an atmosphere, you know. There's 2,000 people. It's like not a coliseum because it's all faced one way. But like all the floor is gone, and there's only a handful of ringsides left. So there's a few at the tier. But no matter where you are, there's no nosebleed seats. You know what I mean? They're all vantage points. So to be there, like, it's going to be a special occasion, really, for what's at stake, and hopefully this is the start of something new. You know what I mean? It's something more. And some big shows back in Ireland. And like, well, that'll be great. Even despite Andy's comments,
I'll be delighted.
Good. I'm getting them back on board.
You're the inspiration on the dressing room wall. That's like not a bad place to be.
Well, in fairness, like, I've been looking up to Andy for years. Like, in the amateur setup, I remember he was going to Athens 2004. And I was training with the schoolboys, you know, and he was just swanning in and out, and he was a bit, you know, looking at him. But now I'm beside him here. And then in the pro ranks, he become a world champion. Like, so now he's the next level again. And as well, when I started going out actually with my girlfriend Sharon at the time, her favourite boxer was Andy Lee, you know, and
there you go.
And then, like,
someday you might be sitting here.
I was in competition with Andy for a long time, but so I was her favourite boxer, but he was her favourite professional boxer. So now I'm professional. I haven't asked the question
I'm
yet.
retired now.
You're retired. Okay.
Yeah,
well, I might get the nod.
Oh, very good. Well, listen, best of luck with it, and thanks very much for
Thanks for having me and Andy.
No, definitely. And it does sound like it's going to be an amazing occasion. So tickets are still available for the Royal Theatre in Castlebar on December the 7th. And if you can't get tickets or head along, it will be live on TG Car as well, which is a great thing as well, that TG Car have been committed to boxing at all levels, amateur and pro. And even the fact that Roy Sheehan is on that bill is interesting, that like even there was all the difficulty afterwards in terms of him getting paid, but at least there is going to be an opportunity for him, and you guys are part of that too. So that's good to hear.